The publishing imprint 12 publishes 12 books a year. Cary Goldstein is publicity director at 12. Mr. Goldstein, what are some of the books you got coming out in later 2009?
Well, this summer we're publishing Henry Waxman's The Waxman Report in July. It's a look back at some of the landmark legislation that the congressman's been involved with: tobacco, clean air, nutritional labels. And what he does is he explains to us how coalitions are built, how bills get moved from subcommittees to the committees, how you collect votes, and it's really a look at how the sausage is made. And of course, the congressman's got a couple big bills going to the floor this summer, so we expect a lot of attention for that.
Did you approach Henry Waxman, or did he approach you?
Our publisher, Jonathan Karp, approached the congressman and thought that he would be the perfect person to explain how Congress works. And I should add that Josh Green from the Atlantic Monthly has written it with the congressman and done a fantastic job. So,
another book by Peter Peterson.
Well, Pete Peterson's lived a fairly phenomenal life. He was born in 1926, raised by Greek immigrants. Was born into Depression-era Nebraska, worked at his father's diner, found himself the Secretary of Commerce for Nixon, Chairman, CEO of Lehman Brothers, and later co-founded the Blackstone Group. Here we are in the greatest recession since the Great Depression, and he's got a sort of bird's-eye view of this that few people would have.
Who is Poe Bronson and Ashley Merriman?
Poe Bronson is a journalist and a writer, author of the #1 bestseller, What Should I Do With My Life? Ashley Merriman is a science journalist, and they've taken a look, much as Dubner and Levitt did for the economy and Friedman did for globalization. They're taking a cultural look at the way we raise children. And what they've discovered is that there are certain key twists that science has overlooked. And recent research shows that conventional wisdom about raising our kids is all wrong. And so they won a National Magazine Award for a piece they did on praise in New York Magazine. It turns out, for example, that we all think praise your children, give them a sense of confidence. You're very bright, you're very good looking. Well, overpraising your children, studies show, will in fact make your children less inclined to attempt to do things they don't think they're good at, and furthermore, more inclined to cheat. There are also chapters on siblings. There are chapters on gifted programs, testing for private schools. Turns out that the testing for gifted programs they do in kindergarten and testing for elite private schools, they've retested a lot of these kids 3-4 years later, and they found that they have misplaced these kids 73% of the time. 3 years later, they've developed differently and at different rates. 73% of these kids should not be in the programs they're in.
Is it risky in today's economy to publish only 12 books a year?
Actually, I think it makes a lot of sense because I've talked about this with you before, we put all of our energy, marketing, publicity, editorial on one book for a full month. We're not distracted by other, campaigns. And we can be creative, and we can not just publish a book one way, but publish one book several ways. I mean, a good example would be Robert Feldman's The Liar in Your Life. And on the one hand, this is a book about deception. Robert is one of the world's leading authorities on deception. He's the chair of the Department of Behavioral Science at UMass, and he's written this book about lying. When he was a young assistant professor, he went to the National Archives because he thought he would listen to the Nixon tapes and go to the greatest liar ever and learn a thing or two. And what he discovered was remarkable precisely for being unremarkable. What he discovered was that even he, an expert, couldn't tell when Nixon was being truthful or not. So the book is not about your sort of Madoff or Clinton scale lies. It's about the lies we tell every day. Each of us tells on average 3 lies every 10 minutes. It's nice to see you. You look good. I feel well. The more lies we're told, the level of our own lies increases. Clinically depressed people have more accurate views of themselves than powerful people who tend to maintain a facade of strength in order to maintain their ambition. So he uncovers all these things, but it's not just, like I was saying, it's not just about these sort of small lies, but it's also about how to handle lies. Lies in the office, lies in your bedroom, lies at the dinner table. But we publish this, so it's a psychology book, it's a book about business, it's a book about becoming a more honest person yourself.
How far in advance do you plan your 12 books a year?
Well, we've got books scheduled through next August. So we have
August 2010.
August 2010. So we're scheduled through August 2010. We're starting to think about the following fall. Not all those manuscripts have been delivered yet, but we know exactly what's coming up. And there's some great stuff coming up throughout this next year.
As an acquiring editor and an editor, what do you do?
Well, most of my job, 90% of my job, is spent promoting the books. But I also have the opportunity to edit about a book a year. Edited one novel last summer. I'm working on a book right now by producer Jerry Weintraub. It's being written with Rich Cohen. But as an acquiring editor, most of what I do is look at the proposals that are coming in. I'll weigh in on proposals that our publisher is reading and let him know whether I think we can spend a full month promoting these books. I mean, that's one of the things that we're thinking about. It's not just great writing, first and foremost, singular books, which there aren't other books like out in the market, but also, is this a writer and is this a subject that we can really focus on for a full month beyond review coverage?
12books.com is the website. Cary Goldstein is Director of Publicity.